"Dad, take me to the hospital. Mom is ill." Michael's voice trembles as he desperately pleads. I was crouching down due to my water breaking, unable to move from the spot. In such moments, the only person a child can think of is his father. But the response that came back from David over the phone was cold. "I'm on a company trip, so no can do." Saying that, David laughed it off. "Help? Please help." Eventually, Michael burst into tears. My head felt like it was going to explode with intense anger. David, who could easily abandon me in my state of emergency, and the nerve to ignore Michael's desperate pleas, was unforgivable. Just a week later, having safely given birth, I was getting ready to leave the hospital. Then my smartphone rang. It was from David. Michael answered the phone on my behalf since I was busy. "How's Mom? We're about to bury her." "What?" David panicked. "What do you mean?" Michael, ignoring anything David was yelling about, hung up the call. "Yes, let's..." We were off to finish off our mission. I took Michael with me, heading to a certain place. What we were about to do was our modest revenge. My name is Sarah, a 33-year-old housewife living with my husband David and our 5-year-old son, Michael. After David goes to work and Michael goes to kindergarten, I spend my days doing household chores. Once that's over, it's my awaited time. I post videos online. It became my hobby. The content is about simple cooking recipes and tips on parenting. Kind of like a housewife's little chatter. It started as a way to kill time. David had been on a solo assignment until recently, so I started it to find something to do in my free time. But lately, I've gained more subscribers than I thought. This parenting and household hacks must have resonated with the viewers, who are parents themselves. Therefore, even after David returned from his assignment, I found time to continue uploading videos like this. Uploading these videos has become a modest pleasure in my daily life. Then, one day, I discovered I was pregnant. We had been considering a second child, so this was welcome news. It's news. David and Michael were happy about it too. There was so much to think about, like what to name the baby, preparing baby clothes, etc. Looking back, I was probably too excited about the pregnancy after a long time. That's why I didn't notice sooner. The nightmare had already begun eating away at our family. It was a usual holiday morning. After breakfast, David was fiddling with his smartphone. Seeing this, Michael runs up to him. "Hey, let's play Treasure Hunt, Dad." Treasure Hunt is one of the games that Michael has recently been into. We bury a treasure at a random place, and then David and I look for it. That was the game. It was a usual peaceful holiday. That's what I thought, but David, while hurriedly hiding his smartphone, glared and snapped angrily, "Quiet down. Dad is busy, go away." Shocked by his tone, I couldn't help but speak up. "Hey, there's no need to talk like that. I'm in the middle of work. If I get disturbed by loud voices, I can't focus on work on a Saturday morning, and you're just messing with your phone." David retorted even more sharply to my words. "It's work communication. I'm swamped with work." Actually understand, or maybe you don't, being the carefree housewife you are. What's that supposed to mean? David snorted and left the room. Perhaps sensing the tense atmosphere, Michael starts to cry. I immediately rushed over to Michael. I'm sorry, Michael. Ed was probably in a bad mood. Even so, he wasn't like this before. Just before his solo assignment, he used to take good care of Michael too. Strictly, David's behavior has been clearly off. He sneaks around with his smartphone more frequently. Whenever I talk to him, he's distracted. And he complains about me quite a lot. He's been belittling me more, saying things like, carefree housewife. It's different for a company employee like me. Is it work stress? That's what I thought, but David's attitude only escalated further. One day, as soon as he came home, David entered the living room with a sullen face. And then he glared at Michael's toys thrown in the corner. I'm recording the sophisticated. Haven't you cleaned this up? I just organized the toys into the toy box, but it seems I forgot some. Oh, sorry. As I hurried to clean up, David muttered, seriously, can't even discipline the kid properly, and that's your only job. I come home tired from work, and you can't even keep the house tidy. Again, he made a sarcastic comment. Auntie mad with a voice close to tears, Michael chimed in. He was standing in front of David as if to protect me, but David, undeterred, trampled over Michael's kind heart with a sullen face and said, move it, while glaring at Michael. And with a click of his tongue, he left the room. His recent behavior is too much. We need to have a proper conversation next time. Holding back tears, I hugged Michael and made a vow in my heart. The next night, David came home. David, there's something I want to talk about.
Hell, what is it?
I'm tired, so make it quick. His attitude is as curt as ever. I didn't let it bother me and began about your recent attitude.
Just her, and I didn't go on a company trip for 2 weeks, starting next week.
What? That's quite sudden. And for 2 weeks? Well, it's more like the managers are aiming to develop new client areas during this trip. It's kind of a mix of work and a bit of sightseeing. Van, it's a hassle to be dragged along. I see. Oh, I won't need dinner today. Shut the door when you leave. Wait a minute. We're still talking. David ignored my words and quickly went into the bedroom. Previously, after Michael went to bed, we used to drink a bit and talk about our day. But now I don't feel that atmosphere is possible anymore. David firmly closed the bedroom door, not letting anyone in. I sighed. After finishing the remaining chores, I turned on the computer. I started working on combining the narration with the video I recorded the other day. It's the usual video editing I do. Previously, it was about simple household tips, but lately, it's been about David. I created a segment about troubles with my husband, saying things like, lately, I feel my husband has become colder. Surprisingly, there's a demand for such content, and the views have increased more than before. Today, I also talked briefly about the exchange I had with David earlier. After posting the video, comments started trickling in. Getting empathetic comments like these somehow helped me calm down. But then a worrying comment caught my eye. A sudden company trip. For cheating? I had a faint feeling but pretended not to notice. Could it really be? David's recent behavior is full of inexplicable actions. Carrying a heavy heart and worries while doing household chores. One day, I was looking for receipts to manage the household budget. They should be around here somewhere. Then I found that the bottom of the first drawer had come loose. It was a false bottom. This chest wasn't designed like this originally. Someone had deliberately modified the bottom to make it hard to find. It wasn't me. That left only David. A bad feeling washed over me, and when I looked inside, I saw something unfamiliar. Is this? My heart raced. Taking a deep breath to calm myself, I booted up the computer. I decided to urgently post a video about what I had just found. I wanted to hear the opinions of my viewers immediately. Although I had my suspicions, I needed confirmations. After a while, comments started pouring in. Reading through them, I felt reassured that my doubts were not misplaced. As the week began, and it was Monday, David was gone for a while on that company trip. Now then, Michael is at kindergarten and David won't be back. I decided to take action while I had the chance. And by the weekend, the preparations were almost complete. Now, I was ready for whenever David returned. Thinking this, I went about my usual chores that morning. Suddenly, I felt a pain in my stomach. At the same time, a warm sensation of water flowing down my lower body came. Could be. I must go to the hospital immediately. Waves of labor pains started to hit. Between these waves, I hurried to get dressed. Then, I packed necessary items like my insurance card, a change of clothes, and towels into a bag. As I did, a strong pain hit me. I believed I could still move, but the pain was so intense that I involuntarily crouched down on the spot. I tried to find my smartphone to call a taxi, but it was nowhere to be seen. Amidst this, Michael woke up. Michael, the phone. I pleaded desperately, barely able to speak. Shocked but determined. Michael found my smartphone nearby and started to operate it desperately. Mom can't move? She looks like she's in pain. It seems he's talking to someone on the phone. Because it was accidentally on speaker mode, I could hear the other person's voice. What's up, Sarah? I heard him say, I'm kind of in the middle of something. Take us to the hospital. Michael pleads desperately. In such times, the only person a child can think of is their father. Help! Please help, Michael cried. Yet amidst my intense pain, I thought it was unforgivable. It seemed like he didn't care even if I was suffering. Moreover, the nerve to ignore Michael's desperate pleas was unforgivable. Michael, crying, hung up the phone and called someone else. Grandma, Michael said with a shaky voice. What's wrong? Up somehow with shaky fingers, Michael seemed to have called my mother. After that, I lost consciousness due to the pain. When I regained consciousness, I was in the hospital. I was lying in bed, and my parents were looking over me with concern. But as soon as I regained consciousness, the pain came back. Sarah, are you okay? Michael called, saying you were in pain. Michael seemed to have been very upset but had fallen asleep from crying earlier. He's now in the hospital's childcare facility, my mother explained. After hearing Michael's call, we arranged for an ambulance. By the way, we couldn't get in touch with David, my father sighed. And they know he said he was on a company trip, but of course that's unlikely the real reason. Probably he's enjoying himself. I felt a quiet rage burning within me. This can't go on, I thought. At first, I had work to do. After my parents left the hospital room, doctors and nurses came in to proceed with the preparations for childbirth. After hours of labor, I gave birth to a girl. Her name is Lily. Hearing Lily's healthy cry, I smiled. I must have been released from the tension I was holding. I fell asleep. I woke up a whole day later. Thanks to the sleep, I felt somewhat better. I reluctantly sent an email to David informing him of the birth. But there was no reply. Burdened by his desires, he probably has no thoughts of his wife and child. As expected, it was infuriating. However, after returning from his enjoyable company trip, he will face hell. Imagining David's face then, I smirked mischievously. Thanks to my parents' care, I recovered smoothly after giving birth. A 6 months into day of my discharge, my parents came with Michael, who had been staying at their house. "Hey Mom, are you all better now?"
Guess I'm all better now.
Considering how much anxiety I must have caused him recently, I hugged Michael and stroked his head. "Hey, let's play treasure hunt again sometime." "Sure, we haven't done that in a while." "What shall we bury?" "Well," I smiled. "You're late, dear. We finished burying it yesterday." "Pfft. What are you talking about?" Michael also said something about burying. It's the Canarian. At my words, David turned pale. "I know about it. It's the dream that was there. Were you planning to propose to your mistress? It even had both your names on it. How thoughtful." Isn't pointing at the chest, David paled. "How did you know?" "I knew everything. It started with broadcasting videos. When I talked about my husband's recent strange behavior in a video, viewers suggested he might be cheating. Then the ring that came out of the chest's false bottom. A brand new ring from a famous brand with both names engraved on it. This was definitely a red flag. After discussing it in a video, I was advised to use a detective agency. If I considered divorce in the future, solid evidence would help me claim alimony. Right after David left for his company trip, I hired an investigator. The results confirmed David was cheating. The other woman was Jessica, a 23-year-old who worked at a bar in the town where David had been on his solo assignment. Perhaps due to the loneliness of living alone, he started visiting the bar. Eventually, they became romantically involved. This part of the story is quite common. Normally, such relationships end when the solo assignment ends. But their affair continued. Even after returning home, they secretly stayed in touch. Eventually, he started to lash out at me. Attend that we seek steak. Then, pretending to be on a company trip, he went back to his old posting to frolic with her. That ring was indeed intended for a proposal to her. He must have been quite smitten. But despite having a wife and child, proposing to another woman is laughable. Did you rush back because you accidentally gave the wrong ring to your mistress? And she got angry. David's complexion changed with my words. Did you do that? That ring? Yes, I had switched the ring hidden in the chest. I mean, he would give it to his mistress during the trip. I swapped it with my own wedding ring. It was a ring David had given me long ago. I was happy at the time, but I no longer need such a thing. What have you done? The ring was the wrong size, and it had your name on it. Jessica was furious. I don't know anything about that. David forcefully opened the chest, searching thoroughly inside. Where's the real one? He demanded. Where did you hide the real ring? Didn't I say? We buried it, I replied. David was at a loss. David was at a loss for words at my response. Then the front door opened. David, are you okay? Are you not done yet? Said the person at the door. Idiot, don't come out. There stood Jessica. I had seen her face in photos given by the detective agency. But in person, she was just a flashy young woman. She must have followed David, probably after a dispute over the ring with my name on it. David must have placated her with the real one. Is at home? Unable to wait, Jessica decided to follow him. Such a ridiculous story comes to mind. This is David's wife. I thought to myself mockingly, just an old lady. She laughed, thinking flaunting her youth would make her win. The sheer folly made me sigh. You must be David's mistress. Jessica, right? He asked, guessing. Let me guess, you dropped out of music school hoping to make easy money. Ended up working at a cheap bar because no rich man would have you. And settled for a married salaryman going nowhere, feeling triumphant over his wife. I continued, That's about right, Jessica. Stuck by the truth, Jessica was at a loss for words. Such things had been investigated long ago. In this day and age, if you know a name, it's easy to find someone on social media. Just a woman with a strong desire for approval, like Jessica, would surely be showcasing her history somewhere. Thinking this, I checked her social media and quickly uncovered Jessica's background. Jessica became defiant. So what? I'm the one David loves. He proposed to me and gave me the ring I wanted. Just divorce him already. I don't need to be told that. I'm planning to divorce him. I can't be with someone like him anymore. David and I had been married for 5 years. We were blessed with children. Had infidelity during his business trip, neglect during my pregnancy, and to top it all off, his treatment of me and Michael. There's no point in continuing a marriage like this. Since discovering the affair, I'd already decided to divorce him. By the way, aren't you going to look for that oh-so-important ring? Where did you hide it? I asked. Hide it? David muttered tremblingly. Today I went for a walk to the beach with Michael after a long time. We played treasure hunt there. It was so much fun, I said. Atrume words that made David change color. Don't tell me you buried it there? I asked. David muttered tremblingly. Then he dashed outside immediately.
Hey David, where are you going? Followed him.
I also stepped outside immediately. The burial place was about a 20-minute walk away. Clutching my smartphone, I walked briskly. It was the local beach. Upon arrival, the two were frantically digging around various spots on the sandy beach. It's not here either. Where the hell is it? It was an expensive ring. What are you doing? Find it already. The two looked foolishly panicked. I leisurely filmed the scene with my smartphone. This beach was a place our family of 3 often visited. We frequently played treasure hunt here. Michael would bury a treasure in the sand, and David and I would search for it. The idea of the treasure varied each time, but was usually something Michael cherished. Toy cars, cicada shells, and other things a boy would like. However, what was buried today was the real ring David intended to give to Jessica. When Michael suggested playing treasure hunt again after a long time, I asked, "What shall we bury?" Michael immediately replied, "A ring." A Telgrid dad has been looking at a ring and smiling recently. "What are you talking about?" Michael had been watching David closely. David must have been imagining his affair partner while looking at the ring he splurged on. "That ring is important to Dad, right? If we bury it, maybe he'll come back to find it. Maybe he'll become the kind of person he was before." Saying so, Michael's eyes sparkled. Michael still didn't understand that the ring was meant for his dad's affair partner. Because his dad looked happy with it, it must be something important. He hoped that by finding it, his recently grumpy dad would return to being the kind of person he once was. Touched by Michael's pure heart, I was moved. And so we buried the ring at the beach earlier today. But now, David, desperately searching for the ring, isn't thinking about his family at all. He's solely focused on not upsetting Jessica. As I filmed, I realized I was crying. The anger towards David for destroying our family was overflowing. It's a harsh reality for Michael, but David probably won't return to how he was before. Later, I went home to edit the footage. The video of them frantically searching for the ring turned out to be comically tragic. Thanks to the sound capturing app, I got perfect audio as well. Family history, the treasure hunts that Michael enjoyed, and how David's selfish affair led to our family's downfall. Of course, I anonymized everyone's names. I clicked to upload the finished video titled, "I buried the ring my husband planned to give to his mistress." Instantly, the video's views skyrocketed. Comments flooded in, mostly condemning David and Jessica, saying things like, "Your husband is the worst," and "What a poor kid." As I scrolled through the comments, a worn-out David and Jessica returned. "Finally found it, buried in the damn beach. The ring got all dirty with sand. What are you going to do about this?" Two of them were noisily complaining. Without hesitation, David threw it in the trash. "Don't you understand?" I looked at David coldly, retrieved the paper from the trash, and unfolded it. It was crumpled, but it was a drawing Michael had made with crayons, a picture of our family of 4 smiling together. Staring intently at it, David finally seemed to understand what was depicted. "This drawing is Michael's wish. You trampled on Michael's wish for his family to be happy. Picking around, cheating, neglecting your family. You're truly the lowest. I can't forgive you." The living room fell silent after my outburst. Jessica looked guilty. I turned to her and said, "I won't forgive you either, Jessica. For destroying someone's family and acting all innocent. Hurting my children. I will fight against such people." After declaring this, I glared at both of them. "Where is Michael? How's the newborn doing?"
Oh, but it's too late. They're at my parents' house. And after all your ring obsession, ignoring both Michael and the baby, you dare ask about them now?
"Well, you won't be seeing them anymore. That's outrageous. I'm their father." "So, what kind of father? Ignoring your kids and indulging in affairs. I don't want to see your faces. Just get out." May Strong's stance left them completely intimidated. "Let's just go, David." David and Jessica sheepishly left the house. Discussions for the divorce would begin soon. I was determined not to lose. As if to gather my resolve, I clenched my fists tightly. It took time, but the divorce was finalized successfully. David's mind might have cooled off from my scolding, as he said he wanted to try again, but of course I ignored it. It was surely just a momentary lapse. He would cheat again, it was obvious. Yet even while talking about reconciliation with me, he apparently started living with Jessica. David likely wants to continue relationships with both Jessica and me, while also wanting to appear as a good father to Michael and Lily. There's no way I can accept that. Of course, I demanded a hefty alimony. David, in desperation, asked for it to be paid in installments, but I rejected that request. Naturally, I demanded it all at once. There was a particular concern. The video I uploaded went viral beyond imagination. It was viewed millions of times and spread across various media. Although I blurred out everyone's faces to keep them anonymous, some viewers are adept at identifying people. As from the beach scene and reflections in the window glass, clues led to David and Jessica being identified. The worst husband works at Johnson's Trading. Jessica, the mistress, is just a girl working at a bar. She has a history of targeting married men. Articles like these proliferated online. But once it starts, there's no stopping it. David's actions became known to his company. Apparently, because he was frequently visiting Jessica's place during his business trip, his work suffered. That's why he was sent back to this branch. Moreover, when he lied about being on a company trip to see Jessica, he had already used up his paid leave. It was revealed that he lied about being sick to get absent without leave. Naturally, David was fired. With no salary coming in, it was a good thing I had already collected the alimony. Then there was child support. I was concerned about that too. David's parents agreed to pay it until David finds a new job. However, given David's name was now widely recognized, finding a new job might be difficult for a while. This was his own doing. I also demanded alimony from Jessica, but since she had quit her job at the snack bar, it remains to be seen how she will respond. Jessica worked at the snack bar, but she wasn't working well. She was panicked. Desperate, Jessica and David started broadcasting the couple's videos, thinking it would be easy money. However, they faced immediate backlash and soon gave up. They were called a couple of thieves, the lowest a disgrace, shamelessly thick-skinned, an impossible duo. The criticism was relentless, and they quickly stopped their attempt. Jessica's parents made a payment for her part of the alimony but told her it was the last time they would bail her out. Initially, David was overjoyed to be liked by a younger woman, and Jessica, for her part, thrilled in the forbidden excitement of engaging with someone else's husband. But once the spell was broken, only reality awaited them. The fleeting emotions cost them dearly. Meanwhile, my channel skyrocketed in popularity. People I'm busy with consultations, from moms dealing with unfaithful husbands and working on projects offered by companies. Our podcasting is fun, and I draw energy from viewers' comments every day. Plus, my income, which used to be negligible, has increased significantly. It's with that money, I renovated and expanded our family home where I live with my parents and children. Everyone seems happy, especially with the grandchildren around. Michael has grown up to be a strong big brother, and Lily is growing up healthy, playing happily with Michael. However, one concern lingered. I hadn't let the children see David since then. But despite not discussing the ugly adult circumstances, I wondered if Michael understood and accepted the situation. To my surprise, Michael was nonchalant. Dad,
It's okay. I was his. He didn't help even when Mom was in pain. I don't need such a terrible person.
his clear words surprised me. Children are keen observers of their parents. From now on, Lily and I will play treasure hunt, Michael said with an innocent smile. I felt truly relieved. David was gone, but Lily had come into our lives, enriching our family. Seeing the lively faces of the children is a joy that cannot be replaced by anything. If we can continue to spend our days happily and closely as a family, that would be my greatest happiness.